Welcome back. I'm now talking, as we mentioned in the beginning, about our Egyptian economic reform program and the economic status in Egypt, knowing that Egypt has the fastest economic growth in the region. Well, we're going to discuss this in more details with our guest for today, Dr. Youmn Hamaky, Professor of Economics at Chance University. Doctor, good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning.
I would like to start by talking about the prospects of growth in Egypt, talking about the economic growth, the fastest economic growth in the region, as I mentioned right now. How do you see the status right now?
Actually, we have two predictions regarding the rate of growth for the Egyptian economy till the end of this year. One is by Egyptian government. We are expecting to arrive to 6% rate of growth. The other by the IMF, expecting rate of growth of 5.9%. So there is no big difference, but still, like you mentioned, Nashwa, we are growing well, which means that the GDP growth is doing well, activated by several sectors of the economy, mainly, the sector of gas, that contributed to large extent to this rate of growth. What we need to mention is to how extent we are in the right track. We are actually in the right track, taking into consideration the mega projects that have been done during the last period, regarding several aspects as infrastructure, as electricity, as a lot of things that may pave the way for attracting investment. And this is the core question: to what extent all what we have done have succeeded to attract investment. What we can see about that is that our rate of growth is doing well, but still we have to concentrate on priorities of addressing all obstacles to attract foreign direct investment. We have a recent report by the UNECTAD mentioning that Egypt is one of the most attractive country in the African continent, attracting foreign direct investment, but still foreign direct investment are coming in Egypt, induced mainly by the oil and gas sector. What we want to do is to diversify, types of investment, foreign direct investment coming to Egypt. Nowadays, we have very promising opportunities of investment in Egypt after, enlarging choices for investors. We are not just working on 6% of the geographic surface of Egypt. Nowadays, we have a very promising project in Upper Egypt. Nowadays, we have multinationals actually working in Upper Egypt and doing very well. Upper Egypt is becoming quite attractive for investors. There are potentialities, very good potentialities. These potentialities can be improved if we concentrate more on upgrading skills and combating poverty for people now. And this is what we need to concentrate on as priority for Egypt, because when we ask the question to how extent this reform has benefited the majority of population, we all know that economic reform was very tough for the middle class and the poor people. And according to CAPMAS, we have, a very important indicator regarding poverty, that the poverty in Egypt has increased to 32.5. This is a very high rate of poverty for Egypt, and we have to revise our efforts to combat poverty from the Millennium Development Goals, that still, despite that we have successful experiences such as China and India, China succeeded to remove 700 million citizens from the poverty. So this should be a top priority for Egypt, and in order to do that, we have to upgrade skills. I myself, I have a very important experience in Upper Egypt. People there, they are suffering from poverty. They are in lack of good education, specifically from the technical schools. Besides, the dropout from schools are very high there. Women are suffering because they are not well educated. So when you train and upgrade skills of these women, and the youth in Upper Egypt, this may change completely the situation and pave the way for attracting investment, because there are very large potentialities for profitable projects there. Our resources are not exploited till now in Upper Egypt, whether in the agriculture sector, the industrial sector, mineral sector, still a lot to be done for that, according to our studies, as the investment map can show you, because we have nowadays 2 investment maps, one from the Minister of Investment, the others from the Minister of Industry. So these potentialities, large potentiality, even Nashwa, it could increase the rate of growth to more than 6% as predicted by the government. But still, we need to concentrate on the priorities. The priorities for us are human being, building human being capabilities. Human capital can be, a very important aspect to be, addressed during the coming period, inshallah.
Right, just allow me to move on to a quick break, then we'll be back to resume with our guest, Dr. Youmn Hamaky, Professor of Economics at Shams University, more about the Egyptian economic status. Moving on to a quick break, then we'll be back.
على وشك الانهيار ووشك الضياع، والشعب كان فاقد الامل والثقه في مستقبل افضل، وكان لابد من اعاده بناء الانطباع لدى المصريين. بعد 5 سنين بفضل الله سبحانه وتعالى وبفضل شعب مصر وتضحياته، احنا في موقف ووضع تاني خالص.
دائما برامج الإصلاح الاقتصادي برامج بتحتاج إلى رؤية سياسية وإرادة سياسية كبيرة وعزيمة شعب إن احنا ننفذ هذه الإجراءات.
أي حكومة لما بتتعامل مع قضايا شديدة الأهمية بتخضع في الاعتبار رد الفعل.
مفيش إصلاح حقيقي من غير تكلفة، عشان كده مصر وهي بتضع برنامج الإصلاح في وقتها يمكن وضعت أكبر حزمة اجتماعية في تاريخها، لأن احنا عارفين إنه الحماية الاجتماعية الحقيقية هي توفير فرص العمل.
كام مليون بيشتغل في كل مشاريع الدولة من أقصى الصعيد لغاية اسكندرية، ما يقلش عن 5 مليون.
احنا وفرنا تقريبا في حدود 900 ألف فرصة عمل سنويا، ودي الحماية الاجتماعية الحقيقية اللي فعلا بنوفرها للمواطن.
هو ده اللي مخلي المواطن النهارده عنده امل ويتحمل ويتقبل اي اجراءات اصلاحيه، لانه شايف النهارده في امل.
رد فعلكم على الإصلاح الاقتصادي كان محل تقدير واحترام شديد ليا، كان شرف ليا، تحملكم شرف.
المؤسسات الدولية الكبيرة كلها هي اللي بتقول إن مصر النهاردة نموذج نجاح لكل العالم.
ثقة فيكم انتوا، ثقة في الوعي وفي إرادة التغيير اللي موجودة في شعب مصر اللي هو استحمل.
Welcome back. And as we were talking about the economic growth in Egypt, talking about the economic status, I would like also to talk about another important part actually when it comes to the economic reform program. Yes, we achieved a lot. Yes, we have many things regarding the infrastructure, the human capital, the progress in education. Of course, we have to understand what is going on, and we can see this on the ground, talking also about the oil and gas industry, all this. But still there are certain category or some people, how far do they feel the impact of this on the life of the normal citizen?
This is a very important question, because still till now people are not feeling the impact of this reform. Why? Because we are not addressing them properly. You know, Nashwa, that when we talk about the macroeconomic indicators, macroeconomic indicators can tell you the reasons behind that. Why? Because you have started by asking the rate of growth, but the rate of growth, what are the sectors responsible for achieving the rate of growth? These sectors are mainly capital intensive, not labor intensive, which means that despite that the rate of unemployment has decreased and declined during the last period, but still this was induced by mega project rather than by the major sectors that may affect, you know, absorbing labor, such as the industrial sector and the agriculture sector. Still, despite efforts that are done nowadays for these two sectors, still a lot to be done regarding, you know, building capabilities, enhancing feeding industries and SMEs. We need more efforts to be done regarding SMEs. You know, it's not just by offering any person an opportunity to start business or to expand his or her business. It's a matter of, you know, a visionary approach towards what projects we need, as we have what are the competitive sectors, what are the competitive industries we need to strengthen so that to increase export. We need export-led growth strategy. Still, this strategy is not effective enough. You know, if you revise, you know, the rate of growth for our export during the last year, this year, the beginning, the 9 months of 2019, you see the rate of growth of our export is 5%. Imagine with this devaluation and the capabilities, we have very large capabilities, and taking into consideration the trade war nowadays that China has, you know, lost part of its market in the United States, several other markets. We had a very good opportunity to replace such positions, you know, but we don't have the flexibility to improve our competitiveness, specifically for some industry like the ready-made clothes. We have very good comparative advantage in it, like even we have some comparative advantage in electrical product, in food industries. You know, we have, if you yourself, Nashwa, you can see some of our product regarding food industries. You may buy this Egyptian product and leave the imported product.
Yes.
Despite that we as Egyptians, we have a tendency to go and buy imported product. But nowadays, when we look to our Egyptian product,
it is different.
It's quite different. Nowadays, it's, you know, using advanced technology for production. We have factories to give us, and our products are everywhere internationally, in supermarkets, in United Kingdom, and so on. But the size, we are talking about the size. Why? Because we are still relying on large exporters, you know, neglecting completely the potentialities of small factories for export. Nowadays, these, you know, strategies need to be revised completely. Why? Because if you refer to some statistics like comparison between China and Egypt regarding the participation of SMEs in export in China, the figure is 60%. In Egypt, 6%. So you can imagine to how extent small industries in China are playing a significant role in exportation. Our small industries are not there at all. You know, they need to be activated towards, you know, directing them towards, you know, international markets and guiding them. If you do that properly, this may change completely the figure of exportation. So a lot should be done referring to a visionary approach. Who should do that on the prime minister level, presidency level, in order to direct the ministers towards achieving these goals. Still a lot should be done regarding that, and if you do that, you are going to have a type of employment that is related to upgrading the role of the industrial and the agriculture sector. And this is the guarantee towards attracting, the problem of unemployment in Egypt properly.
I think this has to do with the needs of the market. So talking about this part in particular, I mean, for example, maybe because we have many of the SMEs, whoever is taking such a project, his main aim just to gain, to improve, to improve his income, to follow just with his basic needs.
It's not wrong, it's not
course.
wrong, but the issue is that we don't have a visionary approach for those small projects to direct them towards the benefit of the society as a whole. We don't have this harmonization between the public interest and the private interest. And this needs a strategic visionary approach to direct people towards it. Like when we are talking about clusters and incubators, I always ask, the responsible for designing such clusters and incubators, do you have a strategic plan towards which industry you are going to form your cluster and the geographic position of it? And I don't have always any answer. Why? Because it's not there. This strategy, it's not there. This visionary approach, it's not there. Even in the vision of 2030 for Egypt, which should include, when we talk about, if you revise this vision, asking about which sector in Egypt is going to be the engine of growth for the coming period. Sometimes you can find the service sector, others you can find the industrial sector. In the Ministry of Industry, you are going to find the industrial sector should be the engine of growth. In Vision 2030, the service sector is going to be the engine of growth. So you don't know which of this goal is going to be applicable in the reality. And if you have this goal, you should complete it with another question: which industries are going to take the lead at in a specific period and action plan for the coming period? So we can do it by ready-made clothes, food industry, electrical, handicrafts, and so on, which could be activated for exportation in a very short period. Because I know, I'm talking to you, I know the capabilities, and we have a lot of studies to prove that. And we kept saying that for the last 20 years, And nowadays, we witness significant change regarding the path of work, which means that there is tendency from several, ministers and so on, and organization to work hard in this. But still, we lack this visionary approach. So until we do that properly enough, we are going to still referring to the communication, IT, or the oil and gas to dominate, the rate of growth for Egypt.
Right. At the end, Dr. Youmn Hamaky, Professor of Economics at Shams University, always a pleasure, of course, having you with us. And right now we are going to move on to a live coverage for an inauguration by President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi for third medical and industrial gases factory. And we all know that gases and gas mixtures are required for the widest range of application in our modern world. And medical gas is a key element of every hospital, used for patient ventilation and various clinical applications. Let's move on to find out more about our live coverage for this important inauguration.